Hey, what's going on, guys? FullFrontage here, and today we're going to be talking about the state of the game inside of Clash Royale. So recently, the developers did a new answers Q&A round 9, kind of. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description for the Reddit post. But basically, here's what was talked about. So one of the main questions was, is there a tournament rework and or Clan Wars feature on the cards just yet? You've hinted at them in the past, which makes me rather curious. From Battle Catalyst at Catzel. They said, no and yes, we aren't working on a tournament rework at the moment, but we do bring it up every update cycle. We know they need a rework, it just hasn't risen to the top of our list as a high priority feature to address. Still on our radar, of course, but most likely won't be happening in the next couple updates. The yes element of the answer is that we are actively thinking about and developing what Clash Royale's Clan Wars feature could be. This is our main focus currently. I don't want to spoil anything about it now. It's still too early to say whether or not it will come in the next update, so watch this space, Reddit. This is kind of contradicting, in my opinion, because they're saying, no, we aren't working on it at a moment. We bring it up every update cycle. They know they need a rework, but it's not at the top of their list, even though it should be. It most likely won't be happening in the next couple updates. Then they say, we're actively thinking and developing the Clan Wars feature. It's their main focus, and it's too early to say whether it'll come in the next update. So they're saying, no, we're not thinking about it. It's not coming for another year and a half or whatever. Not literally, but with the update cycle, that's what it might feel like. But then they're saying, we're actively thinking about it and actively developing it, and it's their main focus. So I'm kind of confused of which one it is. I don't know if you guys felt the same way when you read this, or if you guys just kind of, like, I don't know. I don't know. That's really confusing to me. So the next one was, would you consider more frequent balance changes, perhaps one each month? Currently they are every 2 to 3 months, and it just gets repetitive seeing the same type of decks for that long. They said our original plan was to balance. Original plan with balance updates was something along those lines, to put them out every month or every 1.5 months ish. However, we've moved to a slower cadence lately because we're now thinking that we should do balance updates when we feel the game needs them, rather than simply to freshen things up. Instead, to keep things fresh in the metagame sense, we've been releasing a new card every month. So the Royal Ghost did come out last month. I'm not gonna show you guys a draw. They did release a Royal Ghost this month. This is a kind of iffy meta. The Goblin Hut, the Royal Ghost, Poison, Skeleton Barrel, Inferno Dragon, etc. The list goes on about what cards need to be balanced. I think it would be interesting to do balance changes more frequently, if somehow possible. I know it's hard because they have to balance between ladder and tournament standard. If you guys know Royal Giant and Elite Barbarians, they're super strong on ladder, but they're terrible at tournament standard. They're just not that good. Some people can make them work just because they're pro players, can pretty much make anything work, but some people, on the other hand, can't make them work. I don't know if it just has to do with the skill level, it's very matchup dependent. Like, obviously, you can play Royal Giant competitive standard if you play against an Expo, and obviously you're probably gonna win if you're a good player, or even a decent player at that. Royal Giant basically hard counters Expo, so essentially, I don't know. It's tricky. If there was some way to split the ladder balances and the tournament standard balances, maybe the game would be in a better state. That would obviously be up to the balancing team to know more than I do about how that works on the dev team. This was something that was brought up in Colton's stream the other night. he was doing a Q&A at the end of his stream. We were talking about how Supercell's afraid to rework cards. And it's interesting to me because if you guys think about it this way, the 1 elixir skeletons, they're too strong at 4 count, and they're not strong enough at 3 count. They're still used because they're 1 elixir and they can cycle. You can see I'm using them in my deck. They're still used, but they're too good at 4 and they're not good enough at 3. Bats, they're too good at 5, but they're not good enough at 4. There has to be some kind of balance between them. Now, if they were to change something like skeletons, maybe lessen their damage, then all of a sudden, Graveyard, Witch, Tombstone, those get nerfed. Because if you nerf, say you nerf the damage of the 1 elixir skeletons, but you make their body count 4. Nerf the damage on them. Now, Graveyard damage is nerfed, Witch skeleton damage is nerfed, and Tombstone skeleton damage is nerfed. And you don't want that. I think there needs to be some way to balance a card specifically. Like when Spear Goblins got a buff, the Spear Goblin Hut got a buff, which is, I guess, why people felt it might be somewhat viable. So there's got to be something that they can do to fix that. I know that involves, I have basic knowledge of it, and I know that would involve coding each card specifically. So that would mean skeletons are not skeletons. They are 1 elixir skeletons. That's what they are as the card, as maybe it wouldn't show that. Maybe that's not the display, but that has to be what's behind the scenes in the I'm sure you guys are lost because, you know, we're real here. It's gonna be tricky for them to do that, but I think it might be the best thing to do, at least in terms of further progressing the balance change feature. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that in the comments down below. If each card kind of had its own balance, like goblins, like the 2 elixir goblins, when you buff them or nerf them, Goblin Barrel doesn't get a buff. So that way, maybe stab goblins don't die to zap, but goblins from the Goblin Barrel die to zap. Something along those lines. I mean, obviously that's kind of a controversial topic in and of itself. I know a lot of people want to have Goblin zappable again at an equal level. Other people do not want to have Goblin zappable again at an equal level. Personally, I would okay with the Barrel being zappable and having stab goblins not. I think that would be fair because, like, if you just drop stab goblins, it's boom, they're gone at the bridge, you have no counter push. But if you drop stab goblins at the bridge, you zap them, they don't die, but you can zap a Goblin Barrel and it dies. That might be something that's interesting. And then, you know, so maybe that might help them progress the balance change system a little bit better. And that way, maybe if it's not every month or every month and a half, and it stays this every 2 to 3 month cycle, at least the cards can be somewhat different. I would personally be okay with not having a ton of balance changes at once. We don't need 10 cards changed at once. If there's a card that's having an issue, they do maintenance breaks all the time. Say, hey, we're implementing a fix for, like, okay, even though the mortar is really annoying right now, and I think it deserves this little bit of a nerf, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that. You guys remember that mortar bug where it was like on the edge and the mortar didn't shoot at all? Like, I know that's a bug, but they could implement a quick maintenance break and say, hey, we're fixing the mortar and we're toning down the Royal Ghost. Stay tuned, see you in the arena. Something like that, whatever they tweet out, they always end see you in the arena. I think that's catchy. I don't know, maybe I'm just corny, but I think that's something they can do. Just every month, throw a couple cards out there. Like, for example, hey, 2 weeks after the Royal Ghost comes out, hey, we released a Royal Ghost. We found out his invisibility is a little too strong. We're going to make it from 0.7 seconds to 1.2 seconds, and we're going to nerf the Goblin Hut to spawn in at 6 seconds a Goblin instead of 4.9, and the lifetime of the Hut will now be 55 seconds versus a minute. 2 cards balance changes. 2 weeks into the Royal Ghost release, that means the Goblin Hut would have been around for a month-ish. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. We don't need a whole list of cards. If you can address cards like slightly at a time, like figure out what's going on. I know they look at win rates and stuff, But I feel like we don't need a huge round of balance changes. We don't need a ton of balance changes. Just toss out something every now and then, make it fresh, keep it cycling, keep it entertaining. Because right now the game is in a tough spot because there's only two things to really do in the game. We'll get to that in a second. So let me know your guys' thoughts about that. Just tossing out 2 to 3 cards every month or so, if it comes down to it. They don't need to have a huge list of cards that they're changing. I think it'd be interesting just to switch out cards every now and then, buff cards here and there, etc. So now we're going to talk about what is there to do in the game and how it can possibly be improved. This kind of goes back to the first question that the team answered with Tournament Rework and Clan Wars, and that is the fact that there is not enough to do in the game right now, and what there is to do in the game right now is 1, frustrating, or 2, costs money. The frustrating one, if you guessed it, is ladder. Yes. If you are a free-to-play player, or mostly free-to-play, you've bought a couple gems here and there to do some grand challenges, maybe you bought a special offer, that's perfectly fine. You're still definitely not as progressed as people who spent $1,000, $2,000, whatever on the game, and just dropped it on chests to improve, or to get their card levels up so they can push higher on ladder. People do that, yes. But it's frustrating for people who are not high enough level because they can't push on ladder because their cards are under leveled. I understand that. I see where you're coming from. Even though I am a max level player, not all my decks are max. The only decks I really have max is this Hog Rider deck, Skeletons and Zap, I think are the last, and Tornado are the last cards I have to max. I have a fully, basically maxed Mortar deck, but I don't like Mortar, so I'm not using it. Because I'm not going to play something I don't like. So, I think it's tough because you can get tilted very easily. You feel like you're hitting a wall and you can't progress, and sometimes it just, you lose motivation to play. So what's the next to do? Well, you could play grand challenges, but those cost $1. Every time you enter one, you spend $1. You're spending $1 to play the game every time you open up a grand challenge, essentially. It's not exactly $1, but it kind of, depending on the gems you buy, it rounds out to about $1. Sometimes if you buy a 100 pack, then you buy a $20 pack, it'll round out to $1, essentially. Not exact math, but not quick maths. So basically, I know a lot of people want to do grand challenges, but it costs money. Yes, grand challenges are worth the money you're spending, but there needs to be something you can do to play the game for free. Tournaments right now, in my opinion, this is kind of harsh, but they're a waste of an hour. Tournaments are an absolute waste of an hour. I don't feel like if you're going to play for an hour, not play tournaments. It's not worth it, because you can go 14-1 in a tournament, right? You can win every single game and lose that last match and go from 1st to 15th just because you lost one game. And maybe the opponent you lost to lost 2 games. He lost the first 2 games and then he just went on a win streak. So something needs to be reworked with the tournament feature. I get that it's a ladder system and it kind of works the same as ladder. You play someone with the same trophies, you go plus 30. You play someone with a few trophies higher, you go plus more if you win. You play someone with a few trophies lower, you go minus more, or you go minus more if you lose. So I get that, but the rewards are not there for the time and the system that the tournaments have right now. So they say tournament is not at the top of their list as a high priority feature, but they say it's their main focus at the same time. So I think, and I don't know about you guys, but I would prefer a tournament rework in the next update over quality of life changes. Even though we need quality of life changes right now, I would much prefer tournament in the next update and then Clan Wars in the following update, or vice versa. We need something new inside of the game right now, because the only 2 things to do that are actually rewarding are ladder, if you can push high, which means you're a max player essentially, or if you have money to spend on grand challenges to max your account out. Grand challenges are the best way to max your account out, but they cost money to play. I currently have 91 gems, and I have the ability to spend more. Of course, everybody does, unless you are tight on money, which is fine. I have the ability to get more gems and play grand challenges, but right now, I don't want to feel forced to spend money to play a game that I want to play daily. I want to play this game daily. I enjoy the game for what it is. I think obviously there are improvements that can be made. That's for any game out there. No game is perfect, but I don't feel like I don't want to feel like I have to spend money to play the game. And I'm sure some of you guys feel the exact same way. So I think new features, new game modes, Clan Wars, tournament reworks is super important and should be at the top of the list as a priority feature for Supercell. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Give your honest opinion. Do you want to see tournament rework and Clan Wars before anything else? Do you want to see something else first? But something definitely needs to be added into the game. So the only things to do are not grand challenges and not ladder. And a tournament reward system for what it is not the best, and it's not worth the time in my opinion. If you guys think it is, then by all means find those tournaments. Plex Chat does daily tournaments. There are always tournaments in Plex Chat, in the Plex Chat app. So if you guys are tournament fanatics, download Plex Chat and join it and go play tournaments. They're free. If you have an hour to kill and you're just bored and you just want to play the game, then by all means go for it. That's what they're there for. But something has to be done in my opinion. So I really want to know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. And the last thing I want to address, I know this video is kind of long. I wanted to keep it like 12 minutes, but it's going to end up being 18. Where was it? It was about eSports. Here we go. Do you see the potential in Clash Royale esports scene using a team format rather than a 1v1? If yes, will you support the idea and move in that direction? The dev said, yes, there's definitely potential. We've seen some signs in 2017 that a team format can be super fun. For example, Kings Cup 2 and Superliga in Spain. I'm sure they were also watching RPL. They like my tweet, RPL. If you guys watch RPL, thank you. It's awesome to see that the community is exploring this direction, and that makes us pay attention. We're following the scene closely and taking note of what works in terms of our plans for 2018. I can't announce anything about them right now, but we have some cool stuff coming, so again, stay tuned. This is awesome. I really hope there is a team format feature. Now, I know some of you guys, I know this was brought up in my Twitch live chat. Some people were saying, if it's a team format, how am I going to be able to play? If I'm not a known player and I can't win tournaments and whatever, how can I join a team to play? The answer is, if you have a team of good players, I'm sure it's going to be a qualifier format. I don't think they're going to send invites to Nova, Team Queso, like all the popular teams right now. I don't think they're going to receive an invite that says, hey, you're playing in CCGS 2018, blah, blah, or whatever they call it. Maybe they'll change it from Crown Championship Global Series, something else. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, there's still going to be some kind of qualifier. Maybe they'll invite a couple teams. I don't know. Maybe they'll just have teams qualify. I honestly don't see them inviting teams at this point, at this early in the esports scene. They've only had 2 major tournaments, all for a prize pool equivalent of, well, 3, I guess, if you count Worlds, even though they were all the same event. But for $1 million, it was $1 million prize pool across all boards. $150,000 was the first prize for first place at Worlds. I see that expanding in 2018. I see that going up quite a bit. Maybe they bring in some sponsors. I know Red Bull and Coke Esports have done a lot about Clash Royale. They've talked a lot about Clash Royale. Maybe they can get some other title sponsors in there. Maybe Google will want to sponsor them, or maybe even Apple. I don't even know how that would work. Apple's pretty private about themselves, but maybe they could get something. I know Kings Cup 2 was sponsored by OnePlus. So maybe Razer as well. Razer has a phone right now. So maybe there's something that Supercell can do to work with sponsors and increase the prize, increase the exposure, whatever. Really make it a hype major esports event. I think that's what the community needs. Right here, I probably should have just fireballed for the win, and I didn't, actually, looking at this replay. Still won anyways. Still. But yeah, so esports scene 2018. is looking pretty exciting. They just need to change. It's just the content in the game right now, in the state of the game right now, that has to be addressed. So please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I will try to relay your thoughts to the dev team and see what they have to say. See if there's anything that they want to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see the deck that I was playing in this video, here it is, almost max, like I said. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, leave your comments down below and leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.